Hello guys, and welcome to another React with BlueJay. Gotta be my favorite guy to react to. Just honestly, man. How to survive Victorian London. You don't. But let's see what he has to say about this, huh? Where's my space
Do you
bar?
ever
There
watch
it is.
Downton Abbey and find yourself thinking, I should have been born in the Victorian era?
No.
Well, you're stupid. Firstly, because Downton Abbey takes place 11 years after the Victorian era.
God damn. Yeah, that is, you are stupid. Number one. And number two, Victorian era, if you were born there, didn't you have like a 50% chance to die in childbirth? A 50% chance. If you have just one sibling, one of you would be dead. That's it. Just one of you would not be here. It's either you or him or her. Whatever one you have.
Silly goose. And secondly, because life in Victorian London would be absolutely terrifying for someone accustomed to the luxuries of the 21st century. But let's say you somehow end up in a Freaky
Not even
Fridays
just luxuries, like the healthcare and everything.
situation and switch bodies with a bona fide Victorian. How are you going to survive the London streets? Not to worry. With my extensive background studying history, certified by my 90,000 Reddit karma, I'm here to teach you everything you need to
Fuck Reddit.
know to survive the Victorian era.
Every time I see anything on Reddit, it's always like the most insane possible person that you could ever describe that you have probably never seen in real life, posting some of the most inflammatory nonsense you have ever seen. The only individuals I meet that use Reddit are ones that have used it from before it was like that, and they have an amount of karma built up that they just don't want to lose.
Alright, so you just finished your Disney Channel style
I almost named my channel Resro.
body swap and have officially transported over a century back in time.
In case anyone's wondering, this channel, when it was created, was actually named Rare Clips. That's right. I made it by myself in like 2014 or something with the intent to post like guitar covers and maybe the occasional gaming clip. I ended up posting nothing because I couldn't make myself happy with a single take of the guitar that I recorded. I was a lot pickier back then. It's something you really have to get yourself out of. You can't be a perfectionist while you're posting videos, but so I never ended up posting anything until eventually my friends came up with the idea for this Konglomerat, and then I went with their idea. We used the channel I already had here because it was empty and my whole platform of channels were monetized since I used to post videos on a different channel when I was a child and YouTube monetized me then. Yeah, and now here we are.
I'm to Victorian London. Gah! What? What is it, James? My body? What's happening? It looks like during the body swap you've received a lethal dose of gamma radiation. Oh, and your hairline is receding. My hair? Oh yeah, actually 2 out of every 3 guys will experience some form of hair loss by the time they're 35.
Is this an ad placement?
But about that radiation. BlueJay, how do I keep it? Alright, weird priorities. Well, really the best way to combat hair loss would be with Keeps. It's a fantastic doctor-recommended online service that offers clinically proven treatment to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. They're customer-focused with a 24/7 care and support network of expert medical advisors and care specialists at the ready to help you with any questions you might have.
I'll be honest, as someone that has like ass length hair and my hairline hasn't changed in like however many years, if I had like receding hair and I went bald, like I was starting to go bald, I would just shave it all off. It's just hair. Do you know why I don't cut my hair? Like, you know, the reason how it got to ass length is because, well, number one, Corona shut down all the barber places, but like it costs money to go get your hair cut if you want it in any sort of style. And I've saved a lot of money by not getting my hair cut. A lot of money. So why would I spend more money just to keep it if at that point I should just take a razor to it and just by myself? It doesn't sound that hard.
Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or honestly, if you just want to take better care of your hair in general, Keeps is perfect for you. They even got award-winning shampoo and conditioner. When's the last time you won an award? Never? I know. Here you go.
Damn.
Now for the radiation. Well, at least they'll go out with luscious curls. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/BlueJay or click that link in the description. That's keeps.com/BlueJay. Thank you.
If someone can afford to do 50% off after paying a content creator to advertise it, you understand that there is a more than 100% markup on this product. They're still making a good profit, even with this. You know they are.
Keeps for sponsoring the video.
It's gotta be like at least a 400% markup.
Of course, Alex, you're gonna have to wait a few centuries until you've got internet again, as you're now in Victorian London. The city is booming from the results of the Industrial Revolution. The air is dense, but the stunning Gothic Revival architecture still manages to pierce through all the smog. It's a city of rapid expansion and expensive projects, starkly contrasted by the overflowing slums. But man, taking in all these new sights is really starting to make you thirsty, so you head on over to a well pump for a fresh sip of water. First mistake! What are you, crazy? You won't even survive a day here! You can't drink the water! Cholera outbreaks are about as common as an office quote in a Tinder bio. The booming population of London, combined with newly introduced indoor plumbing, resulted in overwhelming amounts of raw sewage. This sewage ended up in the Thames River, which happens to be London's main source of drinking water, thus completing the circle of life. During one cholera outbreak, Jon Snow, a supporter of germ theory, looked at all this sewage in their drinking water.
Well, there was like small text there. You know nothing.
No, a supporter of germ theory.
Why do I know
looked
nothing?
At all this sewage in their drinking water and had the hot take of, hey, what if we drink water, but without the poop? And ended the outbreak by ripping off the handle of a contaminated well pump. At the time, the community believed in the miasma theory, basically the idea that diseases were transmitted through foul odors. So government officials still rejected Snow's theory of fecal-oral transmission, stating, "Germs in the water? Don't be ridiculous. It was stinky air." In this one,
it was stinky air. Sometimes you question how our ancestors were so fucking stupid, but I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting until we learn that something we believed is like retarded. Like, what's something that we all believe, you know? That there's a solar system and a galaxy and other galaxies. Like, maybe we're gonna learn that all that stuff is fake, you know? That it's like, it's just actually a backdrop or something. I don't know. Just something ridiculous. We're gonna look so stupid. Just like this guy looks so fucking stupid.
Be the last time a Jon Snow's potential was shattered. So unless you want to die a painful death, I suggest boiling your water, or just stick to hard liquor, where the alcohol will not only kill any germs, but also help drown that regret you're starting to feel for wishing to be in Victorian London, instead of shutting up and playing Wordle like a good little consumer.
Wordle.
Alright, now that you're properly shit-faced, you're gonna need to pinpoint your social class so you know who you're allowed to interact with. But isn't who I am inside more important than some social class? No!
That's not even true today. How many celebrities do you talk to? How many individuals, if you make less than $1 million a year, you know, if you have less than $1 million, I know those are two very different things, but basically the idea. How many individuals do you personally know make above that or have above that? Because the amount of them that exist is a lot. There's a lot of millionaires out there, man. There's a lot. And how many of them speak to you? How many of them talk to you? Probably fucking none. You know why? Because you're fucking poor, dude.
Simply talking to a social class higher than yours is enough to get
Who
you
am I talking to? Why am I getting so invested in this?
arrested here. Luckily, it's rather easy to find out which one you belong to. For example, are you over the age of 25 and alive? Then you're probably not in the lower class. As
That's funny.
Tradesmen and laborers had life expectancies of 25 and 22, respectively.
Oh my
Let's say
god.
you find yourself a member of the respectable upper class. What can you expect from your newly found privileged life? Well, first off, you can kiss the thought of a hard day's work goodbye, because with the fortune your family has built over generations through certainly non-exploitive means, you'll never have to work a day in your life. So instead, you're gonna have to find out how to kill all this free time you got on your hands. Being a person with enough wealth to buy a handful of developing nations, or one GPU, you decide to use your money to give back to the poor people whose blood, sweat, and Fossy Jaws helped you build your riches. So you buy tickets to next Tuesday's Freak Show. Freak shows were essentially the MCU of the Victorian era, loved by people of all ages and social classes, except for pretentious people who prefer more refined entertainment, like seances. Everyone from your average Joe to Queen Victoria herself loved to goggle and laugh at all the different looking people perform.
Queen Victoria looks like a massive fucking bitch, dude. She looks like she's one stubble from being like, you know, like some jock asshole.
These freak shows showcase people with physical abnormalities, such as dwarfs, conjoined twins, giants, fat people, thin people, hairy people, ethnic people, and whatever else they thought would pique people's curiosity. Gather round, folks, gather round, for I'm about to unveil the wonders of the world. Realities beyond your comprehension. Freaks from distant and foreign lands. Meet the man of hair. The precious Piper Pinky. And behold, Paul! I thought this was a freak show. Oh, trust me, Paul's a freak. However, the reign of freak shows came to an end as reports of mistreatment of the performers came to light, and the public was furious to find out that the people they went to laugh at for being less than human were being treated as less than human. But now that you've reached your limit of being near the working class who aren't actively carrying your dry martini on a silver platter, it's time for you to build your social status with your fellow aristocrats. To do this, you're gonna have to capitalize on some of the trends of the time. No, not child labor, we'll get to that later. I'm talking Egyptomania. Napoleon's campaigns in Egypt brought back trade and artifacts to Europe, eventually igniting a craze for all things Egyptian in the West due to its perceived exotic nature. This craze peaked during the Victorian era, and Victorians sure had interesting ways of indulging in this trend, such as hosting mummy parties. Not the Brendan Fraser kind, they weren't that based. Specifically, they held mummy unwrapping parties. Getting your hands on a mummy was the easy part. You could literally cop one from street vendors in Egypt like a pin from Disney World, but unwrapping them required a trained professional called an unroller. Why exactly they had to hire a professional to do some glorified banana peeling is beyond me, but I can only assume that the training involved a significant amount of fruit by the foot. Essentially, a bunch of people would gather round to watch the unroller unwrap the mummy and perform an autopsy, including cutting into the skull to go, oh my god, look, he's got a brain, that's crazy. Fragments of the pungent mummy wrappings were then passed throughout the audience for their, pleasure, I guess. What am I supposed to do with this? While today we recognize hosting an unboxing party for corpses and disgracing a people's history is the most optimal way to speedrun a Twitter hashtag, the Victorians just couldn't help but satisfy their intrigue. And in their defense, they basically...
I don't know how I feel about that sentence. Is this disgracing a people's history? Like, did that people still even exist? Because mummies are from a lot of different eras, a lot of different regimes. You know how many different, like, full-on family regimes Egypt had? Like, whatever people put those mummies there was, like, non-existent by the time this would have happened. Especially since, like, look at modern-day Egypt. Like, even just saying Egyptian is weird since, like, most of the things that make up what we define as Egypt is, like, outside of Egypt's borders. So, like, their name already is kind of, like, unrelated, you know? And even then, during one point, they were just Greek. Making this no less confusing. This is more like a relic of people's past. This people just, it doesn't exist anymore.
Came gift wrapped. But if you need any more convincing on how evil this practice was, the most famous unwrapper was a surgeon named Pettigrew. But overall, in the upper class, you won't need to worry all that much about staying alive. Except for the arsenic in your walls, lead on your dolls, corsets in your torsos, cyanide in your photos, strychnine in your tablets, explosive bits of plastic, kitchens full of toxins, morphine for your youngins, mercury-coated hats, radiation from your glass, kerosene in hair products, and asbestos in just about everything. Good luck. But what if you aren't lucky enough to live the life of a Victorian Scrooge McDuck, and instead, you find yourself living la vida pobre in the working class? Hold off on the booze there, buddy. As tempting of a coping mechanism alcohol is, we gotta make sure you even survive childhood first. Let's put you in a humble family of 7 kids, and shit, 4 of your siblings just died. What? Oh yeah, nearly 60% of working class children died before the age of 5. Good for you, champ. You won
60%? That's even worse. I thought it was 50%. Is 60%?
I need to lie down. So long as it's in a minor chimney, because it's time for you to get to work. I'm 5 years old. And about time you started contributing to the family, you lazy leech. Without child labor laws, working class kids started working as early as 4 years old. Now pick your—
I see why they died at 25 or 22.
Your poison, chimney sweeping or coal mining. Well, I suppose it's just a 9 to 5. 9 to 5? No. Victorian children were expected to work 12 to 18 hours a day. Gotta beat out that optimism early. Besides, you've only got that small stature for so many years. Companies have to capitalize on your ability to squeeze in the tight spaces while you can. Now, these are still your formative years, so we gotta make sure you choose the child profession that'll cause
It's crying.
the least amount of physical and emotional trauma. There were a lot, but let's narrow it down to chimney sweep and coal miner and weigh some pros and cons. As a coal miner, you can expect some permanent eye damage due to eye strain from the dark environment, respiratory problems from coal dust.
I don't even think it would be like that, right? Because the dark is one thing. The fact that you're a kid and your eyes aren't exposed to light is going to stop them from growing. Like the eyes keep growing, like, you know, in the horizontal direction until they learn how to focus. And they do this with sunlight to like trigger the chemicals needed to cause that process to go. But if you're in the dark all the time, you're not going to have that happen at the right time. So I really don't think it's going to be squinting your eyes is going to be causing damage. It's going to be the fact that you're not getting the required hormones to finish the development of your fucking eyes. Because that's some, like, potentially, depending on how far it goes, that's some, like, irreversible, I don't want to say, like, damage, because it's more just, like, an overgrowth, you know? But it's, like, irreversible. Whereas I'm pretty sure they had glasses in this era, and if you just squint a lot, glasses can correct that just fine.
Permanent spine deformation due to stooping, and of course there was the occasional explosion or cave-in. But on the bright side, you're essentially playing the closest Victorian equivalent to Minecraft. As for chimney sweeps, say goodbye to the skin on your elbows and knees as that's all getting scraped off. You'll experience some irreversible lung damage from all the soot, and there's a high risk of death from falling or getting stuck in the tight chimneys. But
great.
at least you can die happy knowing that when Mary Poppins comes out in 100 years, Dick Van Dyke will forever cement your profession as much cooler than it actually was. So assuming you survive your
They died by getting stuck. What does that mean? Does that mean that a child would get stuck in a chimney and just starve to death? Like, or is it like faster than that? Do they just suffocate well before then, you know? These are not great different options, but one is better than the other.
childhood profession, it's time for the big boy world. Now, I know the idea of living poor in a Victorian city is probably a terrifying concept, but don't worry, the Victorians actually put in some effort to help the poverty-stricken wastes of oxygen excuse me, less fortunate folk. For example, if you're homeless, you can escape the cold at a penny sit-up, where for the small price of one penny, you get to sit on a bench in a shelter for the night. Whoa, now don't get too crazy. You're not allowed to sleep here. What do you think you are, a human? You only paid for the privilege of sitting, and penny sit-ups even had monitors to ensure you didn't fall asleep. If you're looking to catch some Z's, you're gonna have to cough up an extra penny at a 2-penny hangover. Don't get too excited. Contrary to the name suggests, a 2-penny hangover is not a charity dive bar where you can drink yourself into an ethanol-induced coma. Instead, it was a rope that you literally hung over. Not the most comfortable experience, but at least you'll be the coolest kid on campus with your minimalist hammocking setup. The rope was ideal because it allowed the staff to quickly, dispense with all the poor people in the morning. But hey, maybe it was a good day at the factory and you walked out with 4 pennies in your pocket.
Who thinks this shit up? Who says, all these poors need a place to sleep and I need money? Well, I have a rope. Like... Who thought that up? And then who said, yes, that's where I want to sleep? Like, how do you even get here?
You little aristocrat, you. Well, you can afford to be a high roller and head on over to a 4-penny coffin.
Oh my, for the love of God. It's just a box. They sleep in boxes. Just lined up. Boxes.
Yep, While it may look like you just got shipped back from the Crimean War, a 4-penny coffin was quite the step up from a rope, to be fair. You got to spend the night in a nice coffin, you had a tarp to keep warm, and you even got assigned your own little serial number, which is undoubtedly the closest you'll ever get to being acknowledged in your life. Speaking of life, you better get used to this one, as people didn't exactly graduate from social classes, so the only 4 walls you'll likely ever get to call home will be a coffin.
I am amazed that these human beings would motivate themselves through all of this just to die at the age of 22. That's crazy. I could never motivate myself through this. I would just like cease, you know?
Coffin at best, or a coffin at worst.
How do you look at this and say, yes, this is how I want to live? Like, I'm totally willing to do this. How do you not just completely shut down if these are your only options? Like, what?
If you can afford it. But on the bright side, if you manage to survive through the era, you'll get to experience many of the following significant discoveries and advancements. America found its second manifest destiny with the discovery of crude oil in 1859. Charles Darwin published his book on the concept of evolution, meaning that in a few centuries we may evolve past thinking crocs are cool. Darwin's half-cousin, Francis Galton, took this research and started modern eugenics, which led to problems. Alexander Graham Bell patents the telephone in 1876, a device that changed the world by allowing people to learn about their car's extended warranty. Germ theory would become accepted by the end of the Victorian era, and nobody would doubt doctors ever again. The 19th century saw many innovations in data visualization for statistics.
Honestly, I'm being completely honest. I see a doctor basically every week of my life. Most doctors can be fucking idiots. They may have a lot of schooling, but they just don't have common fucking sense. A lot of them will just defy all logic and reasoning at the drop of a fucking hat, man. I think respecting doctors is kind of silly. I think it is. Because a lot of them are kind of fucking silly.
Which are used today for optimizing shiny...
They're no different than your fucking Walmart cashier, honestly. And teachers are nothing special either. Have you spoken to a teacher? It's just a normal fucking person. And a lot of them don't know anything.
Pokemon encounter strategies. The Bezimer process gave us bigger buildings for more people. Modern artillery gave us smaller buildings for less people. Radiation was discovered in 1896, leading the cancer treatment in Imagine Dragons. The Navier-Stokes equations were developed to describe the motion of viscous fluids and weed out chemical engineering students. And Carl Benz builds the world's first car while simultaneously killing the concept of peaceful suburban life. And those are just a few of the significant advances.
Well, I mean, without the car, suburban life wouldn't exist to begin with.
Made during the iconic Victorian era. So, Alex, are you excited for your new Victorian life? You want to go home and play Elden Ring?
I hate Elden Ring.
The Victorian era. Disgusting and deadly, but inspired Bloodborne. 3 out of 10 stars.
I'm confident that no matter what else I've said in any other video, like that one right there would earn me the most hate comments if I don't explain why I hate it. Even then, it might still earn me the most hate comments. There's a helicopter flying over my house. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's probably coming to get me because I said I don't like Elden Ring. Alright, well that's the video. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Whoever said that he wanted to live in Victorian London? This is his most popular video. I don't know the show he referenced, so maybe just a bunch of normies watching that show. I'm assuming it's a normie show because I've never heard of it, and whenever normies say something, I'm just here like, what the hell are you talking about, you know? But yeah, it was fun. I love BlueJay videos. They are just my absolute favorite to react to. So I'm probably gonna react to another one, like right now. I got it pulled up and everything. But if you want to see me react to anything, leave your suggestions in the comments below. I'll sift through in between all the Elden Ring hate comments and find your suggestions. But you can also leave them in the Discord in the description below, where I have a dedicated channel for links, because YouTube will eat the links if you want to like actually link me to it. Regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.